People, welcome to Newspaper Breakdown 26th of the 10th. Special one today because everything's changed, so it's going to be a cabinet special. So we get to know who's fucking us. It's meant to be a cabinet of talent. So we were told a cabinet of talent, and it is, of course, not. Just finished watching Prime Minister's Questions. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Sunak was awful at it, absolutely awful at it. It was concerning. He came out and said the country's fucked, and then acted like it was Labour's doing. It's what gets me with these, with all of the Tory MPs. Keep going, oh no, yeah, we've got decisions that we're going to have to make, and they thought, oh, it's terrible, everything's in trouble. Do you think, yeah, but that's you. You've been in power for 12 years. There should be a reminder somehow, like all of Labour should, for the next Prime Minister's Questions, wear a T-shirt that says Tory Party have been in power for 12 years. Just to remind everyone on the other side as they attempt to fucking blame everyone bar them. Right, let's get on to the cabinet, because this may be a longer video than normal, because we've got Sunak. That's the start. Of course, he's the PM. In his maiden speech, he spoke about integrity and accountability. So his first thing that he did was appoint Suella Braverman back as Home Secretary, a mere 6 days after she was forced to resign after breaching the ministerial code with a security breach. Because as we know, a security breach from the Home Secretary isn't as important as Sunak becoming PM, which is the reason that it happened. So, Braverman backed Sunak, and Sunak gave her job back. This is the job that Suella Braverman, as Home Secretary, is trying to be more of a cunt than all of her previous Home Secretaries, which is a challenge. It is a challenge, but I think she's up for it. I think she'll manage it. The woman who dreamed of sending aeroplanes full of refugees to Rwanda, this vile fucker is back to finish what she started. And this is the thing, this is like Sunak doing this deal with Braverman. You think, did you learn nothing from The Little Mermaid? Don't do deals with dangerous evil. You're gonna lose your voice, and you're gonna have to stab her with a ship. Suella Braverman is also, she also wants to bring net migration to tens of thousands, which is a stupid idea because we already don't have enough people for the roles that we require, nurses, doctors, things like that. And so cutting net migration is only going to be bad for us. She's also a key member of the ERG, which is the European Research Group. That's like it's like the ultras of the Tory party, because you've got the Tory party, which is the right wing. They claim centre right, but no, maybe 30, 40 years ago they were, but no, it's just right wing. And then you've got the ERG, which has research in the name, which is lovely, because none of them do any fucking research on anything. But they're ultras, the far right. They're like the hooligans of the fucking Tory party. And she's also a member of the Tory party Common Sense Group, which is not a thing. It's not a thing. You've got Hunt staying as Chancellor, so we can expect more austerity 2.0, which at this point we're just going to be sucking the marrow from the poor and making cuts where there isn't cuts. And I've done that. I've said that every fucking video, but it's still true. Dominic Raab has come in as Justice Secretary back after 2 months. A lot of the cabinet is people coming back from previous, because that's the cabinet of talent because it went so well previously. Raab, in his first time as Justice Secretary, he failed to resolve the barrister strikes, so we can potentially look forward to more of them. And there was a constant uptick in court backlogs whilst he was Justice Secretary. This has a lot to do, of course, with the continual cuts that happened over the past 12 years in the judiciary, which meant that now we've got fewer barristers. Legal aid being cut means that there's less barristers for people who can't afford lawyers, meaning that they do not get the justice they deserve. Courts being shut, constant horseshit. We don't have the same level of justice that we should do in what you would call a country. He's also one of the major champions of the Bill of Rights, which was dropped when he was sacked, which was a good thing. The Bill of Rights is what they want to replace human rights with, because humans don't deserve rights, only the rich do. So expect that to come back. Bill of Rights will look to remove the independence from our judiciary, making the government the main focal point of our justice system. So with things like it will make it harder for individuals to sue the government for the mistakes the government make. So the judiciary judges will have to take into account that the government is right, which is concerning to say the least. James Cleverly stays as Foreign Secretary. He backed Boris and then went on to back Sunak when Boris dropped out. He's defended Braverman's rehire. He's very much the fair weather politician. To James Cleverly is no opinions of his own. He's just there like, oh, we need someone for the morning shows. James, on you go. It's the only plus point for James Cleverly, and this is a few of them that have kept their jobs, is you do need continuity for the top jobs. You really require continuity, and as we go through this you'll see that in particular ones there is none, which doesn't help. So continuity is a good thing even if they're absolutely shit at what they do. Steve Barclay has been moved to health, which means that the drug dealer Teresa Coffey has been moved to the environment, which is probably to keep her away from the old drugs cabinet, as she likes to give drugs to her friends for some reason, which is illegal, of course. Barclay was Health Secretary for a few days, a few weeks ago. So I'm not sure if you can even claim that that is a rehire. I mean, it was such a short period. Steve Barclay, of course, has no experience in health care, which is a problem when you've got a health secretary, you would think. And this is something that everyone has been arguing for fucking years now, innit? Years. That if you're going to have a health secretary, maybe they have some experience in the NHS. It's an interesting idea. But Coffey, who was the health secretary, who told unhappy nurses that they could just leave, which is great. She's been moved to the environment, but on plus side, she was a junior minister for 3 years under DEFRA, under Gove, and Gove seemed to like the environment. So maybe she learnt something there about actually liking the environment. But, of course, don't put any hope on it. There's no point in hope. Hope is a bad thing at the moment, because hope will the thing that will kill you. This idea, stay hopeful. No, because every time you stay hopeful, you get let down, and it hurts some more. So don't have hope. Lower opinions, much lower than what you've got at the moment. Lower them down, and then you'll never be surprised by how shit it all is, and then it won't fucking do your insides. She is a scientist, which is nice. so maybe she'll at least understand that we're fucked. But in the past has celebrated using dangerous weed killers in a garden, but you can't really glean anything on that, it's just one of those things that mad bastards do. Education Secretary is Gillian Keegan. I'm with you at that point, I don't know who the fuck that is either. Fifth Education Secretary in 4 months. Which will be a very good exam question, I think, for children. So, if you have 5 education secretaries in 4 months, how fucked are schools and children? A very good one. Good one for them to learn. It's 10 in 12 years for education, which is one of the major reasons education's fucked. You get, as I said, with you need continuity, and you need someone who knows what they're talking about, and that is few and far between. Gillian Keegan is not a fan of unions. She has said that unions are the reasons that she became a Tory member when she was young, which is going to be great considering that you're going to see a lot of strike actions, quite rightly, from teachers. But she seems that she cares about mental health for children and special educational needs and disability funding. There isn't going to be any money for any of that because we're going to cut everything, so she may be very close to her heart, but nothing's going to come of it. Ben Wallace stays Defence Secretary. Whisper it, but that may be a good thing because he's seemingly competent. But that's only in that role. Not saying like as a whole he's competent. He just seems to have done quite well over Ukraine and seems to be willing to do his job, which is rare for this party. But speaking of competence, we've got Grant Shapps is back, and he is not. He's in the running for being the worst MP we've got. But he is in his second cabinet job in 1 week. He's now business secretary, which is including energy, replacing Jacob Rees-Mogg, who resigned with a handwritten letter. And that couldn't have looked more attention-seeking if he had done it in red ink, claiming it was his fucking blood. It is such a fucking attention-seeking, whiny little bitch. At one point, he did ask Sunak to convey his resignation to the king. That's how much of a knob this bloke is. At which point, no doubt, the king replied like, "Who? Oh, that pompous cunt. Fuck him. I'll go fetch me my golden carriage. I have to sell some biscuits." Is that really what the king should be doing at this point? Stick to his business. Stick to his biscuit empire. Stop getting involved in everything else. Mel Stride is the Department of Work and Pensions, and we are getting into the who the fuck is this person level. This is the who hasn't got a job but needs one. He's the Department of Work and Pensions Secretary. He did, a few weeks ago, warn against a real term cuts in benefits, which is good. But he said it because it would be a very difficult political optics. So not because it's bad, and not because it's going to hurt people, not because it's going to push more people into poverty, it's because it's not going to look good for the Tory party. Mel Stride also in the past was the poster boy for the loan charge, which is a charge on all payroll remunerations through loans made since 1999 in a form of a 45% charge on all loan payments in that time, which was demanded by the HMRC to be paid back in 1 year. So they had a look, who got the loan charges, you pay all this back 1 year. This was linked to at least 9 suicides, this loan charge thing that the government did. Mel Stride ignored parliamentary scrutiny and defied MPs' calls for suspensions and independent review for loan charges, refusing 4 times to appear before the Economic Affairs Committee of the House of Lords. Now he's our Department of Work and Pensions Secretary, and if you know anything about the history of the Department of Work and Pensions, that has been linked to many a death. And so if you've got someone who already, for only something linked to 9 suicides, has shown complete contempt for any form of scrutiny, putting him in the Department of Work and Pensions, which is only going to end up cutting more shit, with universal credit being a pointless fucking idea. It's just going to be more hell. Michelle Donnellan stays as culture secretary. She's a former WWE marketing manager. Nothing to say on that. Kemi Badenoch is the international trade secretary, also the Minister for Women and Equalities Minister, because women do not require their own separate thing, neither does equality. You can be the international trade sec and in your part-time try to make sure that everyone has equality. That's how little equality and women matter in this fucking world. She's proper far right, like hardcore far right. She's like she's ERG and Suella Braverman and Mark Francois and Jacob Rees-Mogg type of far right. She's anti-trans, which is great for equality. She voted against abortion clinic buffer zones, which is great for women. She is another cunt. It was such a terrible pick for Women and Equalities Minister. I'm not. You could have picked a name out of a hat, and any of them had a potential of being more useful than her for the growth of women and equality. Mark Harper is the Transport Secretary, which is the 3rd in 7 weeks. So you expect with absolutely no experience in transport that's going to continue to go shit. Penny Mordaunt doesn't get a promotion, stays leader of the House of Commons, which I bet she felt fantastic about. Oliver Dowden is the Chancellor of Duchy of Lancaster, because we're a fucking joke country. Chris Heaton Harris stays Northern Ireland Secretary. I can't be bothered. And Naheem Zawi is the Tory chair, and had to get the Telegraph to delete an article that he wrote praising Boris Johnson as the only one who can help the country just the other day. That's a lot of hell, in it. So that's who's going to be fucking you for the next probably 2 years, unless we can find a way to get a general election. Bad mix, isn't it? Bad mix. Bad mix. Well, tomorrow with a new paper. Have a good one. Bye.